2019 Run for the Diamonds on Atlantic Broadband Channel 10 is brought to you by the Central Susquehanna Community Foundation, promoting education, health and wellness, self-sustainability, recreation, and more. The Central Susquehanna Community Foundation, for good, forever. First Keystone Community Bank, giving you more at a location near you. First Keystone Community Bank, yesterday's traditions, tomorrow's vision. Boyer's Food Market, making shopping fast and saving easy. Boyer's Food Market with a location near you. Century 21 Covered Bridges Realty Incorporated, powerful, professional, and personal, serving all of Columbia, Montour, and Luzerne counties. First Columbia Bank and Trust, with you every step of the way. First Columbia Bank and Trust with 14 branches to serve you. And Atlantic Broadband.
Happy Thanksgiving. Welcome to Atlantic Broadband's presentation of the 110th running of the Run for the Diamonds in Berwick. Windy conditions here in the race. We're going to have some new champions crowned, obviously, in today's race. Mark, it looks like the men's race looks to be good this year.
The men's race is going to be very interesting. The only problem being that the defending champion, Matt Gillette, is out with an injury, and he would have been going for his 5th title, which only 2 men in the history of the race have done, so it's kind of a shame that he's out, but it does certainly open things up, Tony.
We have Trevor Van Akron back, who was a several-time runner-up in the race, and we have our local hopeful Dylan Geringer in the field, and Colin Leake, who was an Olympic trial 2-hour, 14-minute marathoner, is also in the men's field today.
And that's going to make it very interesting because as good as 2:14 is, he hasn't run this course before, and as you and I can both attest, it's a bit of a learning experience, no matter how good you are.
And absolutely, in the women's race, it returns former champion Marina Martino is in the field, Samantha Sneed, Lori Kingsley, and former diamond winner Katie Sick. So we have a great field. We should have a great race.
And I think Emily Schertzer's running the race. She's won diamonds before, and she's a Masters now, but I could also see her flirting with a top 7 and winning a regular diamond.
Should be a good one.
And bright stars through the perilous fight, for the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streamed, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave.
The Central Susquehanna Community Foundation, celebrating 20 years as a regional philanthropic organization. With over 200 charitable funds, including the Berwick Health and Wellness Fund, more than $2.2 million in grant monies is awarded annually to local nonprofits and students to promote education, health and wellness, self-sustainability, recreation, and more. Accredited with national standards for U.S. community foundations for having the highest standards for philanthropic excellence, the Central Susquehanna Community Foundation is here for you, for good, forever.
Change can be hard, but it doesn't have to be. At First Keystone Community Bank, we make switching your checking and savings accounts simple and stress-free. We can also help you switch your direct deposit and automatic payments to a convenient free checking account offering rewards, free online banking, and a free debit card. We've been serving our local community since 1864, providing the best financial solutions for you and your family. Call or stop in to see how we can make switching easy. Yesterday's traditions, tomorrow's visions. That's First Keystone Community Bank.
Some grocery stores make you jump through hoops to save money. You know the drill. Buy 4 cans of tuna, 8 boxes of spaghetti, 7 bags of frozen lima beans. Load discounts onto your loyalty card and stand on your head for 6 minutes to maybe save a buck. At Boyer's Food Markets, we think saving money should be easy. No silly rules, just savings. A lot of savings. Boyer's has over 6,000 items on sale every day. Boyer's Food Markets, where we make shopping fast and saving money easy.
Shop fast and save money at Boyer's.
When you buy or sell with Century 21 Covered Bridges Realty, you get the full support of our team, providing personal, powerful, professional service. A market leader for more than 30 years, helping generations of buyers and sellers make their home dreams come true. Our award-winning team will help you every step of the way. Movers aren't included, but clients get free use of our moving truck. We're the only realtors offering this service in our market. Century 21 Covered Bridges Realty.
First Columbia Bank is going to make someone's holiday make that a lot brighter this year with their $1,000 holiday cash sweepstakes. Come one, come all to any branch of First Columbia Bank before December 20th to enter to win $1,000. No purchase necessary. Visit firstcolumbiabank.com for contest details.
Your hometown bank, the first place to go for your big time plans. Together we'll grow every step of the way. First Columbia Bank.
Atlantic Broadband has the fastest internet speeds around. But now, we're introducing our insanely fast gigabit internet service, which means this will now feel like this. Atlantic Broadband gigabit internet service is here. Download shows in seconds and HD movies in minutes while still surfing the web. Gigabit internet service is here, only from Atlantic Broadband.
About ready to start the race instructions from Dick Rimple, longtime coach at Berwick area senior high school. I myself had the privilege of running for him. Very brisk conditions, windy, cold for the 110th running of the Run for the Diamonds, and we're about ready to turn it over to our starter.
It looks like they'll be bucking a headwind down Market Street on the way out.
We are set.
The 110th Run for the Diamonds is officially underway.
110th running of the Run for the Diamonds is underway.
Good luck to all the runners. Especially good luck to Kevin B.
Local lad right out there, Tony.
Dylan Garinger right up there in the front. Dylan was possibly the best runner that our high school has ever had at Berwick. We've had quite a few over the years. Dylan was a Berwick graduate, high school record holder. He was the 2018 conference outdoor 5K, 10K champion. 2018, he was a Division III indoor national champion in the 3-kilometer distance. He has run a 29:25 road 10K, and just this past weekend ran a 23:50 at the Rothman 8K in Philadelphia.
And Tony, Dylan was coached at Haverford College by Tom Donnelly, who was a really great runner at Villanova. And some people think he's the best coach in the country, and I would be hard put to argue against it. Tom Donnelly, very proven coach. And you could see how much Dylan improved under the tutelage of Tom Donnelly. And he's not shy. Look at him. He's going out.
Yeah, I spoke to him on Sunday, and he told me he wanted to bring it hard early in the race. Unfortunately, our 4-time winner, Matt Gillette, is not here today. Dylan was looking forward to racing against Gillette. But in the field, we have Colin Leake, who was an Olympic trial runner. He ran a 2 hour and 14 PR in the marathon. He's from Chadsford, PA, went to St. Joe's University. He was a manager of the Philadelphia Glen Mills running store. And I once saw something that what I thought was interesting about Leake was he said when managing a store for 10 hours, when you work 10-hour days, it's mentally and physically draining to work that day and then go out and run in the afternoon. And he said it reminds him a lot of the marathon distance, how it could be so mentally and physically draining. So
I totally believe that. Being on your feet, I always thought that was a bit overstated, but when I worked at Runner's World, we would do all these expos, and if you tried to race the next day, your legs were just dead. So you had to repeatedly try to sneak in little sit-downs. Dylan's got a nice little rhythm going here, Tony, and he's got, I would say, 30 meters on the field? 40 meters?
Yeah, 30 to 50 meters on the field. We know Trevor Van Akkeren, again, is in the field, multi-time runner-up here at the Diamonds.
Yes, and Van Akkeren actually is co-coaching at Liberty High School this year, his alma mater, and I don't know, that probably cut a little bit into his training time because he's teaching all day and then coaching and then trying to get a workout in. Yeah. But it would be, with Gillette out of the race with that thigh injury or a sciatica problem, it's really anybody's race. But I love that Dylan's going for it early on here, and it takes some courage because maybe the wise tactics would have been to tuck in because of the wind, the headwind.
Absolutely, and Dylan's always been extremely fit as well, and Dylan's a very strong hill runner as well, so I'm curious to see with this early lead what happens when we actually start hitting and we start making the climb to see what'll shake out, if anybody's going to make a move before the hill to try to close in on Dylan, because if they give Dylan a little too much room, he could do some real damage.
My co-announcer here, Tony Lawson, getting some shout-outs from the crowd. He's a recent addition to the Berwick High School Hall of Fame. We got to say that, sneak that in.
Absolutely, and actually, with being inducted, they inducted another gentleman, Richard Seeley, and he was mentioned at this year's Diamonds race. He was a standout runner years ago at Berwick, and unfortunately he passed away at Vietnam, and he was also recognized at this year's Berwick Hall of Fame. So
we're getting close to the mile mark here. What's the time looking like there, Tony?
Well, we're about 4.5 minutes right now.
Wow.
So we're coming up on the first mile.
So he's going to be sub-5.
Now, he told me that was his plan. He told me he was going to take that first mile out under 5 minutes.
And the thing is about going out in the lead, even though he was going into the wind, he got separation right away, so nobody's drafting off him. Not that they would get much of a draft off of Dylan. He's pretty slender and trained.
Okay. Mile 1, 4:59.
Yep.
So a sub-5 into the wind.
4:59. The rest of the pack.
The flags are flapping out.
So Dylan Geringer had about a 10-second lead at mile 1 mark.
Certainly 8 seconds at the worst, and I love it. I think it's gutsy. Whether it works or not, we're gonna see.
I know, and I said it's not somebody just going out too hard. This is Dylan's following his race strategy that I discussed with him the other day. So he knows what he's doing today. He's motivated. I mean, and running in front of his hometown crowd. I know several years back we had Rebecca McClintock, who was a 1998 graduate. She was a teammate of mine at Berwick, had won the Diamonds. But we've never had a male runner win. We had Bill Bull finished 10th many years ago, 46.55, and Dylan finished 7th 2 years ago as he missed the race last year due to a broken foot.
Right, you'd have to go back to 1908, the inaugural race, to find a local that won the whole thing on the men's side. As you mentioned, Becky McClintock, former Messiah star as well, and that was a bit of an upset that year. She wasn't really expected to win, but she did. Now Van Akkeren seems like he's making a little bit of an effort to pull the chase group up. But as you know, Tony, this next stretch is mostly downhill, and you can kind of get your sea legs back for the hill. But they're definitely closing a little bit on him.
They're closing a little. He had about a 10-second lead at the mile mark. Right now it's more about 7-second lead.
Yeah.
So they're starting to close in a little bit on Dylan.
I know Van Akkeren would love to win this race too, because he's been second so many times, and he won the Runner's World half back in October, and he looked pretty good doing it. He was all by himself. You know, the press truck's not supposed to cheer for guys, Tony, but you're going to say we're going to have to watch you cheering for your local Berwick pal.
Oh, he's a friend. He's a friend of mine. I mean, all these years winning the local race and that. When Dylan came on, I would talk to Dylan, and such a motivated kid,
right?
Hard worker, out there running all the time, and he was always trying to gain knowledge from anyone he can. And I said I was happy to be there when he broke the school records at Berwick, and I'm happy to see everything he did. I went to school with his father. It's hard to say, but of course I'm definitely. Have to say I'm pulling for the Berwick guy all the way here.
And I think the chase group has gotten a little closer, no doubt about it. They're probably like 4 or 5 seconds back now instead of 8. And they're working together, so there's a little advantage to that. Now, if you're Dylan and they catch you at this point, you tuck back in, I think, and just try to go with them.
Oh, absolutely. The conditions it is extremely windy.
Yeah, the flags are flapping, and you know, there's people are out, but not in the numbers that we sometimes see them. And it's going to make it a little bit tricky to have the barbecue going today, Tony. So I don't know if we're going to see the festivities up to the normal bit.
Well, that's the thing about Pennsylvania, though. You could have about a foot of snow, and somebody would be out there grilling in the backyard. It's just kind of what we do.
The gang of 4 is closing in on our boy. But he certainly, if nothing else, has made it an honest race. I'd love to see him get to the hill with a little bit of an edge yet and see what the hill decides, because the hill can often be the factor in this race. We know that, both from watching it and running it. Right, Tony?
Oh, absolutely, Mark. Absolutely.
And now it's interesting because Van Akkeren, who was leading the chase group, has dropped back to 4th, and he's let other guys take it.
Van Akkeren seems to be, like you said, just drafting, sitting behind.
Right. And as we begin this over a mile-long uphill stretch, really, Dylan still has a small lead, and it's going to be very interesting. I think if you're a 2:14 marathoner, you got to hit the hill hard, so maybe Colin Leake's going to fire in a bolt here. Now, in the past, Van Akkeren hasn't run the uphill that strong, not compared to Gillette. So that should be interesting. Let's see what happens. Now, the women's race today, we unfortunately we never know what's going on back there. But some of the contenders were, Tony?
Maria Martino, who's a past winner. We know we had a couple girls pull out. Christy Peterson, I believe.
Yeah, and the defending champ is out on the women's side.
10:03 2 mile.
10:03 2 mile. So he didn't really slack.
About 3 seconds slower in the first.
And I think he's pulling away a little bit again. I think they started to catch him on that down.
That pack is led by Paul Thistle.
Paul Thistle is in that gang of 4, and he's a former champion, Tony. Back before Gillette. In fact, he beat Gillette and Van Akkeren one year. But Paul Thistle is a former Susquehanna star. He now lives in the Washington, D.C. area, and he's a very good runner.
Oh, absolutely. He's very tough.
And a former champion, we should point out.
I believe another former champion, Fred Jocelyn's in the field as well.
Jocelyn is one of those old-time guys. Now the wind is really whipping, and it's right in their faces. They're going up the hill.
Wow. This is incredible. A struggle. This could really benefit the guys there in the back, guys drafted.
I don't know, man. I think they're 4 across, so nobody's really getting any windbreak there either. And Dylan has maintained his 4 or 5 second lead, and he's still got good rhythm. He's got good arm motion. He looks pretty strong. And Tony, the history of this race, there aren't too many people once the hill's done. The positions don't change dramatically at the front.
Absolutely. Dylan has about an 8 or 9 second lead again.
I think he's increasing it.
He looks to be pulling away.
Yeah.
We are now approaching the hill, and Gehringer is actually opening up
He's definitely opening up. Definitely opening up.
He looks good here. I tell you, he's a very strong hill runner too. This is certainly a strength of his.
Yeah. And the flags are almost straight out, Tony. The stars and stripes are. Now we're in a sort of gully between two ridges on each side, so maybe we're getting a little more windbreak. And the steepness of the hill.
Oh, this is the roughest part of Summer Hill for sure. This little climb here.
And it's all about arm action and knee lift. This section.
Dylan looks extremely strong as well too.
And rhythmic, he's still got his rhythm. The other guy's not so good. But it looks like Thistle's starting to break that group up. At least I think that's Paul Thistle with the hat. Maybe Thistle's at the back of that pack. Again, Dylan still punching away at this hill. If anything, he's opening up a little bit. It's going to be interesting on the downs because they caught him a little bit on the last down, gradual down. But
he's pulling away.
I think he is too. You got to think if he gets past halfway and he's opened up even more, he's going to be like a horse sniffing the barn.
Mark, he's got about a 12-second lead on the second-place runner right now.
And in fact, that original chase group is now being caught by 3 guys behind them, which is always interesting because, there's 7 diamonds given out, Tony, and as a guy who has finished 8th twice, I can attest to that 8th is not a place you want. So there's 8 guys fighting for diamonds right now, and that's 6 to 8 spots are trying to catch up.
I'll tell you, our second-place runner looks pretty strong here.
Yes.
Tell you what, these guys can't give Dylan too much room once he gets over that hill because if he starts opening it up, he's not going to be an easy guy to catch. Okay. But second, the pack looks like they're still coming on. Second place looks like he's coming on strong.
Yes. And Van Ackeren is back in 4th and not looking as good as I'm sure he'd like. Really, even on a nice day, Tony, this is a rough course, especially this stretch. And I used to like to run hills, but this is a beast. This is King Kong.
It never gets any easier, too. You can run it a million times. It'll break it. We have another hill about a mile from here called Agony, which is just that.
Is that the second little bump, you mean, after you get up and come down?
No, Agony's off around the 2-mile mark
off
Foundry Grove Road, about a mile and a half climb.
So it's not on the actual course here, huh? The locals are yelling for him.
We haven't hit it yet, no.
We're nearing the 3-mile mark right up here.
Soon. Okay. Yeah.
A smattering of fans are out here parked on the hill. You got to be a bit of a sadist to park yourself up on the hill here. So we're leaving the village of Foundryville.
All right, we're going to be approaching 3 here in about a few seconds.
So we're coming up on the 3-mile mark, Tony. 6 miles of racing is still left, so it's still anybody's race, I'd say.
16:09 mark for 3 miles, so that means Dylan ran about a 6:05 third mile there, 6:06.
Now I think somebody said that Fitzinger ran a 5 flat or something up this hill when he set the course record back in the 1980s.
I don't think I could. I said that's pretty impressive considering most people couldn't run 5 miles downhill on it.
Yeah, and I mean, you got to remember Fitzinger was I think a 2-time Olympic marathoner for the U.S., so not a bad runner. And he beat Greg Fredericks that day, who had at the time, I think had the American record in the 10K, or not too many years before that.
16:45 at the 5K mark for Dylan Garinger.
And keep in mind that last mile was all uphill, and it's still going. I always like getting up here to Summer Hill. You get that little respite, and before you go down and up again, and Weirdly, I got a kick out of seeing cemeteries on both sides. I always said that you could just roll over into that cemetery if need be.
Oh, absolutely. You just roll over and take a drop. We used to have a training run up here at the churches. If you
Oh, no. Dylan has stopped. I don't know whether his legs cramped up or he got sick.
He's holding his leg.
But he's off to the side of the road, and everything has changed. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, it doesn't look good, whatever just happened. He's holding his legs.
Okay, 5K.
And just like that, it's over for him.
Just stop.
Grabbed his right quad and then just sort of walked over the side of the field and collapsed in there. So now we got number 24. Do we know who this is? We're guessing this could be Colin Leake. And just like that, the fortunes have changed dramatically. It reminds me of that opening of Wide World of Sports.
That is Colin Leake.
Yeah, we have identified our new leader as Colin Leake.
He's close enough to the truck that I can recognize that is Colin Leake.
The 2:14 marathoner.
Chadsford, Pennsylvania.
And an Olympic trials qualifier in the marathon.
Guy manages a shoe store. This guy lives and breathes running.
The Central Susquehanna Community Foundation, celebrating 20 years as a regional philanthropic organization. With over 200 charitable funds, including the Berwick Health and Wellness Fund, more than $2.2 million in grant monies is awarded annually to local nonprofits and students to promote education, health and wellness, self-sustainability, recreation, and more. Accredited with national standards for U.S. community foundations for having the highest standards for philanthropic excellence, the Central Susquehanna Community Foundation is here for you, for good, forever.
Change can be hard, but it doesn't have to be. At First Keystone Community Bank, we make switching your checking and savings accounts simple and stress-free. We can also help you switch your direct deposit and automatic payments to a convenient free checking account offering rewards, free online banking, and a free debit card. We've been serving our local community since 1864, providing the best financial solutions for you and your family. Call or stop in to see how we can make switching easy. Yesterday's traditions, tomorrow's visions. That's First Keystone Community Bank.
Some grocery stores make you jump through hoops to save money. You know the drill. Buy 4 cans of tuna, 8 boxes of spaghetti, 7 bags of frozen lima beans. Load discounts onto your loyalty card and stand on your head for 6 minutes to maybe save a buck. At Boyer's Food Markets, we think saving money should be easy. No silly rules, just savings. A lot of savings. Boyer's has over 6,000 items on sale every day. Boyer's Food Markets, where we make shopping fast and saving money easy.
Shop fast and save money at Boyers.
When you buy or sell with Century 21 Covered Bridges Realty, you get the full support of our team, providing personal, powerful, professional service. A market leader for more than 30 years, helping generations of buyers and sellers make their home dreams come true. Our award-winning team will help you every step of the way. Movers aren't included, but clients get free use of our moving truck. We're the only realtors offering this service in our market. Century 21 Covered Bridges Realty.
First Columbia Bank is going to make someone's holiday a lot brighter this year with their $1,000 holiday cash sweepstakes. Come one, come all to any branch of First Columbia Bank before December 20th to enter to win $1,000. No purchase necessary. Visit firstcolumbiabank.com for contest details.
Your hometown bank, the first place to go for your big time plans. Together we'll grow every step of the way. First Columbia Bank.
Atlantic Broadband has the fastest internet speeds around. But now, we're introducing our insanely fast gigabit internet service, which means this will now feel like this. Atlantic Broadband gigabit internet service is here. Download shows in seconds and HD movies in minutes while still surfing the web. Gigabit internet service is here, only from Atlantic Broadband.
And he has a significant lead on third place and I think Van Akron's running in fourth, but very close to third. And I'm assuming that Paul Thistle is one of those guys in the next group. Former Susquehanna University star and a former winner of this race.
Makes you wonder too what if Matt Gillette were here right now? What would
Yeah,
we be
we're not going to know, and I don't even think the watch is going to tell you much today either, because obviously the conditions are. Keep in mind, Gillette's PR on this course though is like 45:02 or something really fast.
Yeah, without even being tested.
Yeah.
Marathon runner. Colin Leak.
Leak looks good too. Great rhythm.
Yes, he looks strong.
He took the race out smart. He sat back. He was confident, and he just worked it up the hill. He closed the gap.
You got to feel a little bit for Dylan.
Oh, absolutely. Dylan's such a hard worker. I mean, he ran that great race just this past weekend. I mean, I hope whatever the issue is, hopefully it's nothing too serious, and he'll be all right.
And you wonder how much the conditions played in that too, because it did look like a muscle spasm cramp kind of thing. But the marathon man, he's looking strong. Although second place now is not that far behind. I would say that's about 8 or 9 seconds.
About 8 or 9 seconds, and he looks strong too.
Yeah, and I'm not sure exactly who that is. If we can get his number, we'll take a pop at it. Van Akron's running in third.
It's a single-digit number. I think it's 9.
Yes, it could be Chris Mullen. The numbers were a little bit off today, so we can identify some of the guys by sight because we know them, but there's always a mystery man or two that if we don't exactly know the number, we're just taking an educated guess.
Did we hit 4 yet?
Yes, we hit the 4-mile mark about 5-10 seconds ago. Right by the car is the 4-mile mark, so they hit it. Second place is at the 4-mile mark at about a 22:50, meaning our leader probably hit it about a 22:38 there, 22:35.
And the wind is still very aggressive. Tree branches are waving around. Flags are flapping. A lot of American flags out on the course.
Colin Leak looks very good right now in the lead. Very smooth. Collected.
I think it's going to be one of those deals where if his pursuer can run it down a little better, he's going to use this to try to get back in it. But I would say right now, if anything, Colin Leak's pulling away a little bit. Now, Tony, this is always an interesting spot in the race because you're coming down to the halfway mark and you're making that really hard left. And if you're a little fatigued or there's ice at the bottom of the road, as there are sometimes, it can be a little tricky turn. I've seen guys fall there.
Oh, actually, Dylan, we were talking about Dylan earlier about 5 or 6 years ago. Dylan took a pretty nasty
spill
fall
there,
on
yeah.
that turn.
Well, I think the second place runner is trying to get back in this. Van Akron's trying to get back in it in third, but he's a good 30 seconds behind the leader, I'd say.
About a 10-second lead right now, Mark, nearing the halfway point.
And I would say Van Akron's another 15 back at least from second.
Tell you what, number 2, second place guy looks like
yeah,
he's coming on pretty
trying.
strong.
He's trying. He's not. And we got a little snowflake swirling around now, I think, or is it
24:50 at the halfway point for the leader.
24:50 at the halfway point. In second place is Chris Mullen.
This is still not a done deal. And what I think is really interesting, and I used to do this myself, when you make this tight turn, it's a good chance to glance back and see where you're at. And everybody did that. The leader did it. The man in second did it. And I think it's still anybody's race.
It's anybody's race. So you see Trevor Van Akron right now in third. Second place, I'll tell you what, who we believe is Chris Mullen, is starting to close the gap here.
And his arm action still looks really good. You watch him running up this hill, and he looks pretty strong yet. And who's ever in fourth, I don't know if that's Thistle, he's starting to catch Van Akron in third.
We haven't seen a men's race this close in several years.
No, and it's exciting because the last couple years, Tony, it was just the Matt Gillette show from here to the finish, and you know, we were trying to fill in stuff on Gillette rather than what's happening with the race, because Gillette had almost a minute lead already, you know. Yeah. I think Mullen is catching him, and if he makes contact, the race is going to really get interesting.
Oh, we could be in for a war over the last 4 miles of this one.
And I think it's happening. And he's wearing an Aardvark jersey, which is a singlet, which is the shoe store in my hometown in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania.
He's chopping into the lead. We saw him just out of 4 mile mark. He was about 10 seconds back. He's closed about 4 or 5 seconds of that already.
Yeah, and you know, when you're in that position and you're catching the guy, it does give you incentive. And I think the trick sometimes is to make it up gradually and not try to do it all at once. And in some cases, it's better to be the hunter than the hunted in this situation.
Well, I'll tell you, he's running a brilliant race right now. I mean, how strong he looks there. He just sat back, was obviously confident in his race strategy, and he's coming on right now.
This is a really interesting section of the race, too. I call it the roller coaster, because you're up and down, up and down.
27-19.
But it's a fast stretch.
27-19 at the 5 mile mark for our leader.
Now, Tony, this course, the Berwick Run for the Diamonds course, generally runs at least a minute, if not 2 minutes faster in the second half.
Oh, absolutely, and we're starting mile 6, which is by far the fastest mile on the course. You could really, you make up for that time on the hill with this mile.
And there's some really great competition here. The second runner, I'm kind of surprised he isn't leaning with the hill much, but he's still catching them.
Oh,
But if I was his coach, I'd be yelling, "Lean with the hill!" But he's definitely catching them, and now we're going to have a very interesting cat and mouse.
Well, we're down to about a 3-second lead now.
Yes. And it's going to be a bit of a surprise, I think, for the leader when he suddenly realizes he's been caught up. Not a complete surprise, because he did take a glance, so he knew there was people back there.
It's nice actually getting to see this race, a battle like this, because from years of running, it was mainly seeing their heads for a couple miles before they, disappeared, and hearing about a battle in the race. This is great. Van Akron in the distance, still in third place. See if he can make
now, Tony, this section of the race, what do we call this? Kashinka Hollow?
Kashinka Hollow Road.
I never say it correctly. That's
People
a difficult
call it
one.
Kashinka, Kashiki.
Well, then maybe I have been saying it right. I've just been using different varieties.
Well, we're almost neck and neck right now with our first two.
And yes, we have complete contact now. You have to say they're co-leading. Now, here's always a big decision. Do you go for the lead when you finally caught the guy, or do you just hang out? And Van Akron has actually pulled far away from fourth. Van Akron's in a solid third, and he's not that far behind these guys now. I'd say 15 seconds, maybe 20. And there's a big gap between 4 and 5 now. 5 and 6 are racing. We don't know who they are.
So Mullen right now is neck and neck with Colin Leak.
So this should be a classic battle.
Tell you, Mullen looks just.
He looks
fresh.
He looks good. Yeah, he looks running straight up and down. There's no hunching. His arm action's still pretty solid.
You wonder which guy has the more of the leg speed here.
That's a good question. I would guess that Mullen, who just caught the marathon guy, has the leg speed because you noticed he did a lot of catching up on the downhill. And a lot of times guys with good leg speed run down very well. That's why I stunk at it.
Trevor Van Ackeren seems to have a grip right now in third place.
Yeah, and you know what? If he keeps his head in it, you don't know. If these guys get too coy with each other and are just content to run with each other, he might get back in the race. And I know Van Ackeren would love to run this race because win this race because he's been close so many times.
Oh, he's paid his dues for sure here. Multi-time diamond winner.
And we're coming up on 10K, right?
Up with Leak, and they're running side by side. Yep.
I think Van Ackeren is caught up a little bit, not tons.
Correct. Yes, there is. I'd say probably about.
He's trying.
We're closing in on the 6 mile mark shortly here.
We're hitting the 6 mile mark here in about 15 seconds.
Neck and neck. The windy day, the 110th running of the Run for the Diamonds. This is the kind of races we all love to watch.
It might be a little easier for 1 and 2 here because they have each other, where Van Ackeren's isolated by himself.
6 mile, 32:02 for our leaders. 32:02 at the 6 mile mark.
So that means they're going to be probably a little bit under 33 at 10K. And they've got less than 3 miles to go now, Tony. Now, if life was fair, they're going to have a wind at their back coming in. But you've had this happen, too, where you think, well, fine, the wind's been in my face the whole race, and finally it's going to be at my back, and then it never is. It's like a crosswind or something, you know?
Uh-huh. Hey, they both look strong, too.
Yeah, we could actually have a duel on Market Street the way this is shaping up. But I think it's significant here that Mullen's actually taken the lead now. And in a way that's probably a little easier for Colin because he can just stare at the back and detach himself as long as he can. And this might be not good news for Van Ackeren, who I think maybe fired his last major bolt on those downs because we don't see him now. We see him, but he's fallen back a little.
Just over 33, 33:03 at the 10K mark.
Yeah.
Yep.
Tell you what, Mullen's certainly starting to work right now.
I'm sorry, Muller is now doing most of the work now. Is actually about a step ahead of Leak.
I love the rural atmosphere of this race. Yet you get back on these roads and there's cows and there's guys out front with beers and barns.
Yeah, I mean,
we just had a suggestion that perhaps there's some wagers on the race, and you know, in the olden days they bet on this race a lot, Tony. In fact, it was a big factor back in the first couple decades of the race.
Mullen is from Eaglesville, PA.
And it sort of looks like maybe Van Ackeren's going to have to settle for third as he's fallen further back than he was a mile ago.
Yeah, pending some unfortunate situation.
Some weird
it looks like
disaster.
It's a 2-minute, two-man race right now.
Two-man race, and, you know, you're running out of time, too. It's... Yeah. Maybe we're going to have a Jocelyn Hilton, it's been suggested, which was basically almost a photo finish, 1 second kind of thing at the tape.
That was a great race.
But I'd have to say Mullen has, looks a little better with arm action and knee lift and that kind of thing. But if the other guy's like a real marathon type, sometimes you have that marathon shuffle, as we like to say, and you don't look like a track guy because you're not, per se. But 2:14 is nothing to sneeze at. And you got to think his strength is still going to be there regardless of what speed he conjures up.
Yeah, I'm curious what we're gonna see when we we start the 8th mile here, where we have that little downhill before we head up Martsville Road. If we're gonna have a move in the 8th mile, or we're gonna have a neck and neck battle on Market Street.
Right.
I can ask around here, but we haven't heard anything.
And I would think they're getting a little bit of a crosswind right now, Tony. But hopefully when they make that turn by the golf course, they'll have a little tailwind. It seems fair.
He could really drop a fast mile coming up here. So we're nearing the turn to Martsville Road in a moment here.
So we're getting close to 7 miles.
Yep, very close to 7 miles here. Right now we're at about 36:10, so we're gonna see certainly under 37 when we start the 8th mile, making the turn to Kachinka Hollow Road.
And while we're very happy to see a great race developing, and I just saw Mullen glance back, he wanted to see if Van Akkeren was going to be a factor, and I think probably what he saw was this is the race right here. But again, imagine if Gillette was in this. Poor Gillette was going for his 5th title, would have equaled the great Scotty Rankin of Canada, who won it 5 times in a row back in the 1930s. And only Ross, the great Byron Ross, who won a total of 10 titles, won 7 in a row at one point, won 3 in a row, got beat, won 7 in a row.
36:50 at the 7 mile mark it was, 36:50.
If anything, I think Mullen is now dictating the race to the marathon man, and he's making it happen. He's applying a little pressure, and I think he's just getting maybe a step here and there, but not really.
I mean,
they're just together.
To go back what you said a moment ago, too, where Gillette was so dominant on the hills, it makes you wonder how well Dylan Geringer had to lead on the hill. If Gillette was on the course, would they be chasing him down right now?
Yeah. We're coming up on 7, right?
We're on mile 8. Yes.
We're on mile 8. We went through 7? Okay.
36:50 through mile 7.
So we have less than 2 miles.
I'll tell you what, neither guy's giving an inch right now.
They aren't. I thought Mullen had a step here and there on that downhill, and now it's the other way around. It's the classic battle. Is the stronger marathon guy going to hold off somebody that we're assuming is faster leg speed-wise? We don't know that.
You'd think maybe you'd have some like telltale physical signs of somebody fading, and you're not really seeing that from either guy.
No. And you got to give some credit to Van Akkeren. I can see him back in third. He's still working hard. He obviously has to know at this point that he's probably not in the mix unless something weird happens up front. And having been second and third a bunch of times, I'm sure he'd love to win this. Now there's a contingent with an outside fire, which I think is kind of brave on a windy day like today. I'd say Van Akkeren's, close to a minute behind.
Yeah, and it looks like he still has a pretty nice lead over 4th place. So
yeah,
it looks like we might have our top 3 set. I think Thistle last we saw was sitting around 4th, 5th place. And both of these guys still look pretty good. You don't see any gritting of teeth, and they got to be a little bit tired. They've run into the wind here. It's amazing as we know for a fact this year we're going to see a new champion crowned.
And they want to keep the pressure on because Van Akkeren is capable of running a very fast last mile.
And he's still coming.
He's still trying.
And you could see fourth in the distance. Van Akron has a pretty
Yes.
big lead over fourth place.
But we're very shortly going to have a mile to go. So, you know, it's going to take a 4:30 mile from Van Akron to get back in it, you know. Because, these guys are going to run sub-5 for this last mile with the crowd, and it's slightly downhill.
And we have a band playing here along Martsville Road, which has seemingly been a tradition the past several years. Just amazing the crowd support you get every year in this race. It's unbelievable. The whole town comes out. I myself know I used to love it. The crowd support's great, especially when you're an area runner, local runner. Everybody gets behind you.
Right, and it's not even a nice day, and yet they're still out here. We saw a couple of cans of adult beverages, Tony.
Yep, they're some of my old buddies from high school are always out here at Mile 8.
A lot of cowbells. A lot of cowbells here. What's that Saturday Night Live skit, More Cowbell?
More Cowbell, Will Ferrell. That was a classic. We're coming up on Mile 8 shortly here. We're about 41 minutes and 30 seconds right now. We're coming very shortly. We're going to hit the 8-mile mark with our leaders. We see Trevor Van Akron in third. It looks to be Paul Thistle sitting back, the fourth or fifth. 8 miles and 41:47, Mark. 41:47, mile 8. Here we go, last mile.
So they're running about 5:10 a mile.
We are neck and neck. I think the
5:15
only thing
a mile.
we're missing here is a little Eye of the Tiger Survivor music to motivate us here. You can hear the crowd support here. Everybody's excited to see this. We have a close race.
And Van Akron's running very hard in third, but not really cutting into this lead. And
about a 42:20 for Van Akron, it looked like at the 8-mile mark. So, like Mark's about 50 seconds back.
Yep,
and running out of time. But
they are still together. Leak is technically in first. He has about a step on Mullins, but I mean they are together.
now, what's the name of this pizzeria here, Tony? I was
Chicatano's.
Chicatano's. Whenever I saw Chicatano's, I knew I was getting close.
The old Strasser's Bakery we're passing that used to make the cookies and that for the cookie run that they have in Berwick every February.
And the crowds are always pretty thick here at the junction because you get to see the runners twice. And now
looks like,
the marathon man is making a move now. Is that because he doesn't want it to come down to the last 100 meters?
He might be trying to put the distance on because he maybe either that or maybe he doesn't have the legs. He may know the guy he's running against.
That's
has
true.
That wicked kick at the end.
Yep. Tight. Tight. Just hold on tight.
Hold on tight, tight, tight.
And here comes our winner. Looks like Colin Leak. He's going to win the 110th running. And what an impressive last mile. 45:32. 45:33 is the official time for Colin Leak. Wow.
Number 2 is Alex Bryce of Bethlehem at a time of 45:45.
Alex Wright of Bethlehem was our second place runner. Here comes Trevor Van Akron coming in third. Van Akron was a multi-time runner-up in this race.
Trevor Conda from Easton, PA. 29.
Mitchell Martin from Berwick, standout runner from Berwick, would win our local title this year. And Martino is going to win the Run for the Diamonds for the second time. 53:45, Marina Orson, two-time winner of the Run for the Diamonds.
The Central Susquehanna Community Foundation, celebrating 20 years as a regional philanthropic organization. With over 200 charitable funds, including the Berwick Health and Wellness Fund, more than $2.2 million in grant monies is awarded annually to local nonprofits and students to promote education, health and wellness, self-sustainability, recreation, and more. Accredited with national standards for U.S. community foundations for having the highest standards for philanthropic excellence, the Central Susquehanna Community Foundation is here for you. For good, forever.
Change can be hard, but it doesn't have to be. At First Keystone Community Bank, we make switching your checking and savings accounts simple and stress-free. We can also help you switch your direct deposit and automatic payments to a convenient free checking account, offering rewards, free online banking, and a free debit card. We've been serving our local community since 1864, providing the best financial solutions for you and your family. Call or stop in to see how we can make switching easy. Yesterday's traditions, tomorrow's visions. That's First Keystone Community Bank.
Some grocery stores make you jump through hoops to save money. You know the drill. Buy 4 cans of tuna, 8 boxes of spaghetti, 7 bags of frozen lima beans. Load discounts onto your loyalty card and stand on your head for 6 minutes to maybe save a buck. At Boyer's Food Markets, we think saving money should be easy. No silly rules, just savings. A lot of savings. Boyer's has over 6,000 items on sale every day. Boyer's Food Markets, where we make shopping fast and saving money easy.
Shop fast and save money at Boyer's.
When you buy or sell with Century 21 Covered Bridges Realty, you get the full support of our team, providing personal, powerful, professional service. A market leader for more than 30 years, helping generations of buyers and sellers make their home dreams come true. Our award-winning team will help you every step of the way. Movers aren't included, but clients get free use of our moving truck. We're the only realtors offering this service in our market. Century 21 Covered Bridges Realty.
First Columbia Bank is going to make someone's holiday make that a lot brighter this year with their $1,000 holiday cash sweepstakes. Come one, come all to any branch of First Columbia Bank before December 20th to enter to win $1,000. No purchase necessary. Visit firstcolumbiabank.com for contest details.
Your hometown bank, the first place to go for your big time plans. Together we'll grow every step of the way. First Columbia Bank.
Atlantic Broadband has the fastest internet speeds around. But now, we're introducing our insanely fast gigabit internet service, which means this will now feel like this. Atlantic Broadband gigabit internet service is here. Download shows in seconds and HD movies in minutes while still surfing the web. Gigabit internet service is here, only from Atlantic Broadband.
All right, we're standing here with Colin Leak, the winner of the 110th Run for the Diamonds. Colin, it was a great race, one we haven't seen here in a long time, neck and neck. First off, what were you thinking at mile 3 when Dylan Gehringer pulled off with the injury?
Oh, I thought now I'm in the lead, and what am I going to do with it? No, I felt bad. Dylan's he's also part of the track club I'm with. So I tried to give him a word of encouragement as kind of went by. Then I didn't know who else was near me, so just kind of tried to keep pressing the pace, but also staying relaxed in case I was caught. And yeah.
I mean, you pulled away a lot there in that last mile. You guys had a neck-and-neck battle. What was your strategy? Because we all know you're strong. I knew you were a strong marathon runner. We didn't know what to expect for this distance from you.
Yeah, I didn't know what to expect either. I just, I knew it was a long straightaway to the finish. We're also coming off of some pretty higher volume in training. We did a hard 20-miler as part of the Philly Marathon on Sunday, so I knew I was coming into this kind of tired. And I didn't know who the gentleman next to me, what kind of wheels he had. So I knew I shouldn't rely on a sprint finish. So I was like, well, you got to go and just trust that your legs aren't going to come out from under you. And luckily they didn't.
It was great having you here. I'm sure we'd love to have you back
Absolutely.
again.
Be back next year.
Enjoy the rest of your Thanksgiving. Congratulations, my friend.
Thanks so much. Really appreciate it.
All right, I'm standing here with Alex Price from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Finished second today in the Run for the Diamonds. Was in a war with Colin Leak. What do you think of the course? What do you think of the race?
It was good. It was warmer than last year, but this course, you never know what to expect. Really, the hills are brutal in the beginning, and there was a a crazy headwind, so it was just staying calm, staying strong, and then just push the downhill.
I said we haven't had that exciting of a men's race in years being here, and that was great. I enjoyed watching you run as everyone did here. Will we see you back?
I hope so. Yeah, I ran last year, and this is my second year doing it, so I'm always hoping if I can make it here. It was a fun race. I thought I caught him in the downhill. We fought for a little bit. He just had a little bit more in the tank than I did. But the strategy was he had a little bit of a gap on me going up the hill. He had a little separation. But just running it last year, I knew that if I ran the next couple miles really hard, I could close the gap on him. And then, so I was able to catch him on the downhill. And then I just tried to push, and he just hung and just had more in that last mile. So he's a heck of a runner, strong. And, I look forward to hopefully if he comes back next year, I'd love to race him again.
I'm standing here, Maria Martino, now a two-time winner of the Run for the Diamonds. Before we get started with that, is your recent mom, was the family here? Was baby Jonas here?
Jonas actually is not here. We didn't know how cold it was going to be, so he stayed home. He's with my in-laws down in Jim Thorpe. They're watching him, but he's 9 months old and full of energy.
What was the strategy today? I mean, how'd you feel out there?
The strategy today was, last year I finished 8th, so I just wanted to get one place higher to get back on the Diamonds podium. I did not expect to win. I got here and was like, there are a lot of fast girls. All right, so we're just gonna go out and try and see what we can do. I was hoping to run about 6-minute pace, which I think I did. I'm not really sure.
53:45, I believe.
Okay, yeah, so right where I was looking to hit, and I'm very, very, very happy.
Well, congratulations to you again. Enjoy the Thanksgiving with your son and your husband. Great job. We hope to see you back again.
Oh, I will.
The 2019 Run for the Diamonds on Atlantic Broadband Channel 10 has been brought to you by the Central Susquehanna Community Foundation, promoting education, health and wellness, self-sustainability, recreation, and more. The Central Susquehanna Community Foundation, for good, forever. First Keystone Community Bank, giving you more at a location near you. First Keystone Community Bank, yesterday's traditions, tomorrow's vision. Boyer's Food Market, making shopping fast and saving easy. Boyer's Food Market with a location near you. Century 21 Cover Bridges Realty Incorporated. Powerful, professional, and personal, serving all of Columbia, Montour, and Luzerne counties. First Columbia Bank and Trust. With you every step of the way, First Columbia Bank and Trust with 14 branches to serve you. And Atlantic Broadband.